Hello everyone, it is me again. We are doing a takeover of Playouts page. It is officially Pride. Welcome June. And so to kick off Pride with everything that we are experiencing collectively as a nation, as a society in the world, I wanted to bring positive conversation, education, and perspectives to folks in our community because, yes, although there are so many horrific and tragic things happening in society right now, these are not things that we have never seen before. And so a big story of queer people, trans people, is that we are resilient. We have started a revolution that was started at Stonewall by queer, trans people of color such as Sylvia Rivera, Marsha P. Johnson. And I wanted to take this time to invite a couple of my friends onto this live and talk about this idea of pride. What does pride mean to them as a concept in everyday life? Who has impacted their lives? Who are their LGBTQ plus heroes or role models or content creators, educators, you name it, who have impacted their lives in a positive way, whether it's showing them the possibilities of queer existence or making them feel affirmed or confident. And another thing that I want to do today in our conversations is talk about the potential that Pride Month can hold in our communities. So given that with coronavirus, Pride 2020 is online, what are ways in which we can still engage in community outreach? What are ways in which we can protest, riot, and or support the different movements that are going around in our society? What are things that we want large corporations, organizations, nonprofits, people who are not in the LGBTQ community to understand about our perspectives, to learn from our stories, and to implement in their businesses for us to be better not only supported, but affirmed, taken into account, and really start to see ourselves and our identities represented by the society that is supposed to be supporting and uplifting us. And so additionally, I will be taking questions from folks who are tuning in for our live. So if you do have questions, please feel free to comment them below. That way we can address them. And and I am going to have our first guest. We will be having two guests today. So the format that we're doing today is a little different than usual. We are going to be hosting a 20 to 30 minute conversation with two guests. Our first guest is Brax Fleming. Brax is the CEO, founder, and creator of Stealth Bros Co., a trans run and owned organization that creates DOP kits and other materials that can be used by trans folks across the spectrum to feel more affirmed in the needs that we have as trans folks in today's society. So Brax will be our first guest, and we will be talking for that first 30 minutes. I will then be ending our live after that first 30 minutes and saving it to Playouts page, but do not go anywhere because I will be going back on live for another 20 to 30 minute conversation with my friend Lex. Lex uses she, her pronouns. She is a queer life coach. And so now we are going to have Brax come in and we are about pride. So here we go.
What's going on? What's going on?
How are
What's
you?
up, everybody? How you guys doing? I don't have my tripod. I actually left it in my girl's car, so sorry about that.
Now we'll just get all the different angles. Just like make sure you give us everything you got. Yes. Oh yes. That's literally my favorite thing is like, yes. Feel it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So
okay.
Please, my friend, introduce yourself, your name, your pronouns, if you feel comfortable, any identifying terms that you like to use for yourself, and where you are currently calling in from.
Okay, so I'm currently calling in from South Jersey here, all the way in Dirty Jersey, and I use he, him pronouns. My name is Braxton Fleming. I am founder and CEO of Stealth Bros & Co. I heard you talking a little bit about it before, so I'm guessing the people know what that is about.
Oh, feel free to give your spiel, though, because I'm sure that you have a better one than I do.
Well,
and the people need to know.
I call us a luxury DOP kit company that specializes in hormone replacement therapy dopp kits, with other like communities such as like diabetes, IVF mothers, or HIV patients. Our products really could be used for multiple purposes, but the foundation of the product is built to give transgender individuals a space to call their own, pretty much.
Yes. Yes. And that's the thing that I love about the kits are that I literally use mine for everything that I have, like my contacts, my retainer, like my, like everything. But then I also like can use it to like put my nail polish or like my makeup. It's versatile, just
It's
like
versatile.
trans identity. So
Yes.
that's what
And we
I
have a
love.
new collection coming out too, and it's called the Taste Collection.
The
It's going to come
taste.
out. Yes, it's coming out at the beginning of July. I really wanted it to be here for June because one of our bags will have rainbow, gradient rainbow sword interior with all black exterior. It's really lit. This new
That
collection comes.
sounds unreal.
Yes, so we have yellow, orange, red, blue, black. It's nice. And it's going
What?
to be called the Taste Collection.
The
Yes.
taste collection. How did you come up with that specific?
Well, I really wanted it to be something for Pride because I was really trying hard, but due to COVID, and like overseas shipping and everything like that, it just came to be. It just took longer for it to, get the bulk production of it done. So it ran into July. So I'm like, okay. And then when I got the samples in, they were so vibrant, all the colors, that it was like you could eat them. They look so good. It's like you could eat them. So I was like, oh, this looks like the Skittles. So I was like, I'm going to name this the Taste Collection because the pictures just don't do justice on these new products. I'm promising you, they're so nice. You're going to love the yellow is crazy.
Oh, yellow is, I literally have the window panes and like the outline of my door and my closet painted bright yellow because it's a happy color and I need to be happy.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
I'm telling you, this collection is so nice. The colors are just so popped that I'm blown away my damn self. At first, when I seen the pictures, I was like, oh, okay, I picked this out. This is okay. I'm always hard on myself. But then when they came in, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is it. So I'm really excited for this collection to drop in the beginning of July. It's going to be exciting.
that is so exciting.
Yes.
And that's the thing is that, so as folks may or may not know, I also have a small business called Live Fluid Collective. And I have some new apparel slash products that I'm looking to drop. And I'm not sure if I want to drop them right now or try and make a kind of like second wave of Pride in July.
Yes.
Because well, for starters, Pride Online is not ideal, right?
Right.
Like, I personally prefer to be able to engage physically in person
Yeah.
with my community to like see all of the unapologetic authenticity and hear all the voices just like together, like just like we are here and we're not going anywhere. And
Yes.
so if we have to have Pride online, then like we may as well make it the entire summer. Like that is just like my perspective.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, we might as well just ride that wave. It should be Pride every month. We should always be able to show our pride, no matter what month it is. And I think that's why. I mean, I'm a little bit upset I couldn't release it during the Pride month, but ultimately, I know I move on God's divine timing. So I know there's a reason, and there's a reason for why it's coming in July. So we're just going to stick to that and focus on that.
Yes. Wow. Love everything you just said. So can you tell me how you got so fantastic? Like what did like can you guide me? Can you guide our audience on how we can get so just and there isn't even like a word.
I,
Powerful,
um,
like
I think I just have a
strong.
great set of parents. I feel like I was born into a great set of parents. Both of my parents are just very great. And I feel like uh, sometimes I feel like I have the spoiled child complex sometimes, but it's because my mom used to always tell me I was special. So I think when you grow up with having someone tell you that you're special all the time and that they love you so much all the time, I was overly loved by my mother. So
No
I feel
such thing. I refuse to
I
believe that that is a
so I
thing.
feel like I feel like I have an abundance of love to give, and that's why I don't know. I don't know if I'm so great, but I try to be great. And, I just want to make everybody happy because I was always so happy. So, and just the way my mom loved me, I think, honestly.
Yes, yes, and that's beautiful, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's really great, right? I mean, I guess that does sound good. I don't like to talk about it much because a lot of people don't have the same privilege to have great parents in their life or have them accept them who they are as, being trans and all that and actually being able to, I guess, being able to have pride. I don't know what the hell just happened. Be able, be able to have pride, but I guess I can just have so much pride because I was always taught that it's okay to be who I was. And you know and my mom always just told me I was special no matter what it was, whether they thought I was a lesbian or I'm trans or whatever. They're just, this is why you're special, this is what you have to do. Like, so it was, I just always had really good support. I think I just always had really good support.
that's so beautiful.
Thank
I
you.
wish I wish that upon all queer people. And that it's
Yes.
fantastic that that has been your lived experience because
Yes.
we all deserve that love and that support and that
Absolutely.
family, like family dynamics slash structure, whatever you want to call it, right? Like
Yeah.
it is something that so many queer people, especially trans folks and trans
Right.
folks of color
Amen.
who don't experience pretty
That
much
type
what I call like the privilege of like support.
Right. Yeah, it's true. It's true. And don't get me wrong, I've had my ups and my downs, everybody does with their
Oh yeah.
parents, but ultimately one thing I could always say is that, I feel like I can live my life freely because I have a net. I have a net.
Mm.
And if my dad's net doesn't catch me, my mom's net will catch me. And if her net doesn't catch me, there's always someone there to catch me. So I can live as free as I want to be because I have a safety net of supporters that are always behind me. So I feel like I can do anything and be invincible. And if I fail at it, it's okay. Even if I lose everything, I have people behind me that will just save me ultimately. That sounds so spoiled, but
No,
it's
not
it's
at
ultimately
all.
true. It's ultimately true that that's how I can live so freely. And not that I don't have I obviously have a career and things outside of Stealth Bros, but I just feel like I can just be proud with who I am and do as I please because, not saying mommy and daddy are going to save me, but if I ever get in a rut, I know who I can call. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And also, that doesn't sound spoiled at all because it is a literal privilege that the majority of humans, I'm not even going to say the majority because that's also not true, but
Right.
many humans are born with and they take for granted.
Right.
But like marginalized communities, like whether it's within the queer community or communities of color or religious minorities, truly whatever it may be,
Right.
like we have to create our support structure. Like we literally have to plan those nets
Yes.
because we don't get to just be like, oh, I know I have my parents or my siblings or my grandparents or whatever it is. Like, no,
Right.
we have to be like, who is an active ally or supporter or like
Mhm.
bad bitch that I know is going to like support me.
Right.
And
And
that is
that's why a lot of people can't make the leap of faith because they feel like if they fall hard, who's going to be there for them? You know what I mean? And that's a hard pill to swallow. And for a long time, I'm like, oh, I got me, I got me. But ultimately, yeah, I got me because I had such strong support system that I feel foundationally strong. But ultimately, it's the people that are there in my foundation supporting me. You know what I mean? So that's why I have that strength. That's why I can do the things I do. I can start a business, and if it fails, it's okay because it's not breaking my pockets or anything like that. And even if it did take me out of my house and home, my mom just told me the other day, I swear to God, do not. I went to go see her social distancing because I work with the nursing home and all that. So we were standing outside, and she was like, you can quit your job and just run your business from home, and like trying to tell me to come back home. So it's
Mama's
like,
being like, it's time. I want you
yes,
back.
yes, yeah. She's like, yeah. So she just told me, like, it's okay if you want to quit your job and you just want to focus on your business. It doesn't matter. I'll take care of you. Like, and just knowing that even though I never abuse it, I don't ask my parents for anything, but, knowing that it's there gives me that self of gratification, and then lets you be confident and lets you go out there because, no matter what, you got your family at home who's going to take care of you, so you could just go out there and do your thing.
Yes. And that honestly relates so well with my personal understanding of like this concept of pride, right? So you have pride, the physical event that
Right.
happens across the world, different locations, different times, whatever. And then you
Right.
have pride, the lived experience, which can happen literally whenever, wherever you are.
Right.
And for me, I understand the lived experience of pride as honestly being the fuel for my advocacy work, for my brand, for my modeling, for literally everything that I do, every breath that I take. It
Right.
can be like, I can look at the receipts and find that it's coming from this place of I am able to be this confident, authentic, and unapologetic person, similarly to you, because I have that
Right.
backing from my family, right? So like I mentally, emotionally know and physically know that like I I will not be homeless. I will not be responsible for all of my like God forbid something awful happens. Like I have people who can mentally, emotionally, financially, physically, etc. support me. And so like
Right.
having that supportive net truly
Yes,
lifts a mental emotional block. It's
it
a form
does.
of freedom because now I can focus my attention on other things versus the basic human rights of wanting to be a human in today's society.
Right. And I
And
think that's like what me and you both do, like on our platforms, like not even really realizing it until we're having this conversation now, but ultimately like we can stand out and be who we are because we have such great foundations at home. And that's not easy for everybody. And a lot of people, especially in our community, in the POC community, they don't have those things. And that's why it's hard for them. But that's why we were, you know, like my mom said, we're special and we have to be those special people out there to be that backbone for the other people, to speak out for other people, and to be that person to lead or help guide people in the right direction, and show them that it is okay. You know what I mean? And it's hard to do it if you don't have that support, but that's when we can come in and be that support for those people. So it's like that's why I always try to leave like my door open, like as far as like my DMs and things like that, because there was a point in time where I was just starting on out on Instagram and just coming into the community and trying to, to the guys I looked up to that had a lot of pride, that were out there being confident, and they didn't always reach back to me, you know what I mean? And that made me feel some type of way. So I always said, no matter what happens, no matter what I do within this community, I want to be accessible. I want people to be able to contact me. I want them to know that, no matter how many people are following me or what I do with my business, I'm always approachable, and that, we all go through the same things, you know what I mean, ultimately. So,
yes, and
that's the sense of pride that I feel like I have when it comes to pride time.
you're so right. It's truly something that like we understand because it just naturally fuels both our business and just what like we're placed on this earth to do.
Right.
Right? Like you were talking about, and I think I'm going to use different language that we actually discussed when we were doing tea talks, but
Right.
like divine intervention or like
Yeah.
God's time.
Yeah. God's
And
time. Yeah.
yeah, and like how that relates to like when I think about like how things happen for a reason or like those types of mantras
Right.
in that similar vein, I'm like, well, I have this privilege, I have this space and this safety net.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it only made sense that I'm going to be loud. I'm going to
Right.
be authentic. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm
Right.
going to share everything just transparently about myself because I am not perfect.
Right.
Nobody's perfect. I'm not going to pretend that I'm perfect or that I know everything. And I'm not even going to like try to speak on other people's experiences because it's not
Right.
my place. All
Right.
I can do is be unapologetically myself and share the good and the challenging because nothing is one way or the other.
Yes. So I know I completely agree with you on that, and I just feel like we just need to continue doing the work that we're doing and speaking up for the people who need to be spoken up for and help them gain a voice by just showing our own voices, because there's been plenty of people like, oh, Brax, you did this, so I did it. And I'm like, that's great. Like, I'm so happy that you felt that you could do it because you saw me do it. You know what I mean? And I think that's like a sense of pride. Sometimes even when we had the conversation before this talk, I was thinking about pride, and all I could think about was the parade and all the people there and everything happening. But ultimately, pride is something that, like, we carry with us every single day. And the more I started to think about it, I'm like, yeah, like I do show a lot of pride. I'm like, do I show pride, or am I like stealth? Like, I'm trying to think, because just because you don't wear rainbows every day doesn't mean that you're not showing your pride. And that's what I was, a little bit before this, getting nervous about, just being honest with the people, is that you know I didn't know what I would be portraying. And then I started to think about, but no, my pride is every day. When I get on there and talk to you guys, that's my pride. I'm putting myself out there. I don't have to do that. I could hide myself. I could just live my life. You know what I mean? But no, I
Yeah.
go out there, we speak about things, and we address these issues, you know what I mean, and move forward.
Yes. And I'm so glad you brought that up, because that is just such a clear, concise way to just thematically differentiate like pride as an event, as like a one-time thing that is being taken over by capitalism and is not truly necessarily support of queer people and all that we have done and accomplished. But then also this
Mm-hmm.
concept that pride is something that we do carry with us every day, and like the ways in which
Right.
that impacts our mission for our life here on earth, or what we want from our relationships, whether that's romantic or with friends or family, right?
Right.
For me, my pride in my queer identities and my trans identity impacts every single conversation that I have with family members.
Right.
So like family members, friends, community, dentists, like literally anyone. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about this with my therapist, and he said, it sounds like you're always on. And I was like, huh, that's a really like interesting way to like describe what I'm experiencing, because it is true. Like every single instance for me, I interpret as a potential learning experience, both for myself and the people that I'm engaging with.
Right.
So if I hear something that is misinformation or ignorant or naive or just something that I disagree with and I would like my opinion to be heard, not engaging for the purpose of changing someone's opinion, but for the purpose of having respectful dialogue,
Right.
like that is something that honestly is a staple of like my everyday experience. When I see the news, when I see a post, when I get a DM, like
Yeah.
this headspace of my queer identities are such a big part of my existence
Mm-hmm.
and of my lived experience, because I have so much pride in all of the beauty that comes with those identities, but also understanding that so much more education and work needs to be done about not only queer identities, but the intersectional nature of religion and ethnicity, and like where you are physically living now, and if that is different
Right.
from where you were born and raised, because the different cultures in which our family may have like exposed us to, right? All of these things are
Crazy.
everyday experiences that I personally see like my pride in myself, but more
Yeah.
importantly, the pride that I have in our community is
Yeah.
what is the fuel.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. I agree with all that. And I just, it's crazy, because I'm glad we're having this conversation, because it's like it gave me like, even though it's like something, but then just like having that conversation out loud, it really brings things to the forefront, and like what to focus more now, like what to focus on more than ever. Like, it's not about all the rainbows and stuff. Like, we can really focus in on like what pride truly means and bring more people together and uniting people. But like you said, not just this month, but next month and the month after that, you know what I mean? And continue pushing that. And that's like the whole thing with everything that's obviously going on now. Like, we don't need to just do this for a little bit. Like, we need to continue
Right.
moving. We don't need to just make this huge riot for these first couple of months because people are pissed off and want to do things. No, like, we need to go out there and vote. We need to go out there.
Marathon.
Right. We need to go out there.
Marathon.
Right. Marathon, baby. And just keep doing the things we need to do in order to progress forward. You know what I mean? So I think that's like, I think that's the main thing about pride. Have pride in your black pride. Have pride in your trans pride, have pride in, your queer pride, whatever you feel like you need to do. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And I just think more people need to hear that for sure.
Yes. And then also something that you said brought in this idea that because this is for the folks who overthink like myself.
Right.
Which is this idea that, okay, so we're used to being like, this is the 51st year of Pride, right? So it's relatively new in the history of the world and society.
Right.
But now we can actually do the self work or the questioning or the information seeking and education on what is the purpose of Pride, right?
Right.
Like what you were saying.
Right.
It's not about the rainbows or the parade or the cars or the performances that you see.
Right.
Now that we are not able to have those experiences, we need to take it upon ourselves to actually discover what Pride means.
Yes.
And like
Yes.
what we need from our society for Pride events, what we need from our friends and our family who are allies, what we need from ourselves to protect ourselves and our own emotional and mental safety and comfort, right?
Yeah.
Like these are things that if we weren't in this current situation, we would likely be on that autopilot, right? Like go to those pride parades, like which is all super valid, right? Coming together as a community is a beautiful thing. But
Right.
now that we can't do that, we get to actually ask ourselves the hard questions of what's the purpose of Pride?
Yes. Absolutely. This is fantastic conversation. I'm telling you, no, this is great. Seriously, because people need to hear this, even myself included, because it is. We need to ask ourselves what is pride, and you're right, we're on this autopilot every single year. It's like we had these events, and before you know it, these events are back up. I was on the pilot with them. I was
Me
on
too.
I was on it too, and gotta get here, gotta get Silk Rose here, and but what was the purpose of all of that? Was I, really losing the purpose behind all of that? And, you know, slowing it down a bit is important to really understand the history, learning the history, and what can we do in the present time to like make pride meaningful other than just big parades and coming together, which is great. We love that, but there's so much more to it that people are overlooking. And maybe more people would be involved if they knew how much pride they were actually showing if they're not into the rainbows and stuff. You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
yeah.
Couldn't
That's it.
have said it better myself.
That's it.
Yes.
Oh, man. I have a prize. I have a surprise for you real quick. Can I show you?
Yes.
It's right here.
Always. Oh, Bushkies. Oh my God. Yes, I'm talking to you.
That
Oh
that
my
big one,
God.
that big one, that's Mia. That's my honey.
That's Mia? Okay. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
that's my baby. And then
Wait, is
this
she
one,
also like either, is she a tuxedo cat or is she a complete black cat
she's
like
all
Lady?
black. She's all black with
Where's
yellow
Lady?
eyes.
Oh my
And
God.
then that one over there, that one's Goya. That's Jace's cat.
Oh my God, you're ready? Wait, Lady wants to have a play date.
Let me
Lady
see.
wants to have a play date.
Look, there you go.
Hey, there we
Oh,
go. Kitties. Yes.
look, 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 look. She's tired. Look at Mia. Look, me and Mama.
Oh my God. Honestly, like I will host play dates with my cats and their kitty friends like any day of the week, right, Sabu? Sabu is a little disturbed, but
Oh,
what do you even have here, Sabu? Yes,
I
baby.
like Sabu. I like that one. That looks like my old baby, Callie. She was a calico cat.
Oh,
I
so
love her.
cute.
I love
Honestly,
her.
if I do not know what I would be doing in quarantine without the support from my kitties. So thank you for blessing
Seriously.
me with the presence of your two little chunk monsters, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
My
I
babies.
know.
I've been running them up and down the stairs. I'm like, we gained some pounds here in
I know. No,
quarantine.
my cat is big. The black one, she's big. She
So
eats
is
like probably 30 temptations a day. She should not have that much. I
do you see her like her little fupa like actually like flip side to side when she runs? It's so funny watching Lady run because she'll be like,
yeah.
"Oh, I'm like so agile. Like I'm gonna like chase after these other cats." And then she's running and like her body is being like moved by her.
I'm telling you,
Uh
it's so funny. But yeah, they're my honeys here.
Yes. Well, thank you for showing me them. Will
Yes.
always accept cats in my life
Yes.
forever. Oh
Always.
my gosh. And before we sign off from this part one of our conversation, is there anything that you want to share with us? A message you want to leave us with? Just truly, the floor is yours for whatever you would like to use it for.
I would just like to say that this was amazing, number one. And number two is that, like we discussed, we can all have pride, whether you wear rainbows or not. And I think it took me to this conversation to really realize that I do have a lot of pride. And it's okay for me to say that, even if I'm not into wearing a bunch of rainbows and stuff. But I feel like this is important. I feel like this conversation was really important. I feel like it needs to be shared. I feel like we all need to come together. And as far as what's going on in the world right now, I talk based on that is that everybody just needs to keep uniting and please vote. There needs to be no talking involved. You just need to get out there
Yes.
and vote for the
Actions.
people. Yes, action, all about action. So just go out there and vote, people, and do the right thing to put the right people in place so we can move forward as a country. We've rioted hundreds and hundreds of years prior to this, and not saying it hasn't made a change, but it hasn't made a big enough change. But what we can change is by voting and, getting the votes in there. That's the main thing to do. So please vote.
Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're
Everyone,
welcome.
PSA, use our voices, use
Yeah.
our
And,
whatever abilities we may have. Yes.
okay.
Yes. Thank you, Brax. I love you,
All
bud. We'll
right.
talk soon.
All right. Bye. Peace out, guys.
Bye. All right, everyone. That was Brax. Definitely check Brax out on Instagram. What a fantastic and lovely human being. So what I am going to do now is that was part one of our Pride community conversations. I'm going to end this live, post it on Playouts page to make sure that it saves. And then don't you go anywhere because we are going to pick the conversation right back up with my friend Lex. So see you all in a minute. Yay!